Hello and thanks for joining us on Daily Politics. This is a program that engages issues around politics, policy and governance. I am Shehu Suleiman, standing in for your regular host Hamza Idris. Now, presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, Atiku Abubakar, in the last general election has recently raised concerns around what he called Nigeria sliding towards a one-party state. He raised the concerns, when the leadership of IPAC, that is Inter-Party Advisory Council, visited him. He called on opposition parties in the country to come together and salvage democracy, as he said. Now, other key actors in the polity are also raising concerns around, the same issue of Nigeria sliding towards a one-party state. Some of them are also talking about the seeming hijack of the nation's institutions, key institutions in particular. There have been growing concerns around, the judgments right from the Supreme Court, Appeal Court, and even the lower tribunals in respect of the just concluded elections in Nigeria, talking about the 2023 general elections. Now, the outcomes from these courts has left much to be desired among Nigerians. The political actors are alleging, that judiciary as an institution appeared to have been hijacked by the executive branch of government. Again, there's also concerns around the handling of elections, right from the general election to the up-season elections that took place in the country last week, so to speak. The Kogi, Imo, and of course Bayelsa governorship elections. The conduct of INEC has come under public scrutiny, especially in Kogi. There has been concerns around the involvement, if you like, or alleged involvement of INEC officials in what some termed, rigging of the election, especially as raised by key opponents or key opposition political parties in those states. The Social Democratic Party, for instance, SDP, which came third in that election, second rather in that election, has been raising these concerns around, the complacency, if you like, or the complexity of INEC as an institution, in the conduct of that election. So we'll be looking at all of this in the phase of growing democracy. It's no longer nascent now, it's a growing democracy. So we'll be looking at that and the implications of this, if actually is where the country is sliding, and what needs to be done to salvage it. And I have in the studio an international and national affairs analyst who also, analyzes issues around politics, policy, and governance. I have in the studio Barrister Mainasara Umar. Barrister, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's always my delight to be here to contribute to nation building.
Right. Okay. Before we commence the conversation, I wanted just to have, this at the background. That is the comments made by the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, after the Supreme Court judgment, and they also addressed by the national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, the SDP, talking about Shehu Gabam in respect to this particular topic that we are discussing.
We have long been aware of how weak the national institutions have negatively affected our democracy. This year, 2023, has been quite remarkable and revealing. INEC displayed incompetence in the conduct of its statutory duties. The judiciary has largely acted in defiance of the constitutional tenets, precedents, and established ground rules. Political expediency has preceded judicial responsibility. A mechanical application of technicalities has superseded pursuit of justice and fairness. Both INEC and Supreme Court, as referees, respectively, shifted the goalposts in the middle of the game.
How could institution of INEC the executive will be appointing national commissioners, resident electoral commissioners that have interest. One of them that we accused was appointed by the same executive that compromises this election. How could a government that wants to strengthen democracy should participate in determining actors that will conduct election? And we think we are serious, we are normal, and we think things are going well. Our economy is on its knees, the security is on its knees, no investors are coming in, and we're still creating a chaotic environment. We tell lies, government tell lies, deceive people. This is sad, particularly for our generation, because we have no excuse. Most of us here, almost all of us, have traveled out. We have seen how systems have been organized. And then we envy to have it down here. And the leaders that ought to have provided that environment are the ones compromising the environment. We are heading towards a one-party system in Nigeria. Whether it will last, I don't know.
You know, I know you've been following the political trajectory.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the temperament, the body language of the political actors, you know, since the emergence of winners in the 2023 election and subsequently the Supreme Court judgment. What do you make up with the temperament, you know, of the country, or the political temperament of the country?
Well, first of all, the most unfortunate phenomenon developed from 1999 to date, which is not normal in our own political dictionary. As a matter of fact, it is alien in any of our constitutions and alien in all the constitutions of the political parties, not only the constitution of the country. There is nowhere where politics is designed to reflect sensationalism. Sensationalism, ethnic or religious or geopolitical coloration. We have never witnessed it so bad like during this 2023 presidential electioneering campaign. Political parties, especially the Labour Party, you know, clearly and openly campaign in favor of a particular ethnic or religious coloration, which is really contrary to Section 15, subsection 1, that says the motto of the Federal Republic shall be unity and faith, peace and progress. And contrary to Sections 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, Sections 21, 23 and 24 that prohibits you to do anything that relates to any sentimentalism. And at the same time, the other political parties too are not that free of any blame. For example, if you look at the PDP, it was busy trying to quell the uprisings of the 5Gs.
The G5 governors.
The 5Gs, headed by then Governor Wike, which really shows the weakness of PDP as a political party. Because whatever Wike did, if Wike can go free without any single penalty, then PDP has no moral justification whatsoever to penalize anybody in any subsequent committal of any offense, whether in breach of the constitution or breach of any law. And then the PAPC on the other side was seriously busy trying to solve a lot of internal wranglings created by the then outgoing government. The then outgoing government made a lot of blunders. First of all, a blunder in the sense that it came and openly said that Ahmed Lawal was its own preferred candidate against the popular choice of the people. And then people showed that they were not ready to follow the suit along the decision, which eventually led to the ouster of the APC chairman and other decisions. Anyway, all that is by the way.
Yeah. How does all of this, you know, shape the outcome of the 2023 election in particular?
Well, it has succeeded in reversing us politically back. Because it has succeeded in creating a very big gap. And that gap got filled up with money bags. Money bags brought in their own distance, and then because the only instrument you can use to fight all these vices I'm talking about is the instrumentality of money. We have decided to entrench capitalism as the system of political governance we want to run. In a situation whereby the leading party set by setting example, saying that every person that wants to contest for presidency should be prepared to buy a ticket
from
at the party level, 100 million naira, which is more than 4 years' salary, legitimate salary of a president. So how can you do that one? But all that one was, by the way, because over 30 people paid the 100 million. They paid and in order to become flag bearers of the party, not even to become the candidates of during the contest. So at the end of it, we saw equally what happened during the party primaries. We saw the terminology popularly used as dollarization of delegates, whereby delegates were not prepared to even accept naira, they were prepared to accept dollars, and whereby they accepted all those things in the brazen and glaring presence of INEC and security officials. IFCC was there, ICPC was there, INEC was there. But at the end of it, their presence did not stop the contractocratic type of bourgeoisie system of buying whatever interest you want to do, provided you have the resources to do that. So eventually, at the end of it, we ended up seeing a lot of things. There were allegations of compromise by the electoral officers, allegations of compromise by judicial officers, allegations of compromise by security officers. But at the end of it, that was what led to the highest turnover of people that really go to the court to show their grievances against the way the elections were conducted, which is contrary to, for example, our mother country, Britain. In the past 100 years, it was only once somebody went to petition against outcome of election results. But look at what we experienced this year. There is no state that didn't have over 100 election petition cases.
Right. Okay, let's look at the issues one after the other. Let's start with the political parties. You did mention, how the political parties behave in the build-up to the election and how that also shaped the outcome of the exercise.
Yes.
Fundamentally, I'm looking at, the strength of the opposition now, because that has been the major concern, that the opposition political parties in the country have been weakened. But then you talked about their undoing. Perhaps they were the architects of all of this. They were fragmented even among themselves and so on. Now, the main opposition party, the PDP, is crying foul, that the executive branch, if you like, or the ruling party is, paving way for a one-party state, kind of. It has been hijacking, if you like, or it has been undermining the influence and the strength of the lower and the smaller parties, and so on. The candidate of the party at the presidential election, Atiku Abubakar, did mention that. Several other players have also talked about that. Do you agree with this submission that the party is still tilting towards a one-party state? And what are the parameters?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, for long, Nigeria is a one-party state. But it's a one-party state with polarized colors.
Okay.
Why I call it one-party state with polarized colors is that whosoever is Mr. Somebody in Party A, originally you discover he was a byproduct of Party B. Whosoever is in Party B, you will discover that he is in the party during the daytime, but in the night he is there bowing down to the leaders in the other party. So there is so long we don't have principles in the political power play, so long the political parties are not based on principles or based on any ideology. Political parties are seen in Nigeria as vehicles of convenience. Every politician is seeing politics as the road, is seeing the political parties as motor vehicles. So it is for his own interest to now decide which of the motor vehicles do I enter. Do I want the one that will give me comfort, or the one that will take me to the particular position in speed, or the one that will have to do some mechanical touches before it reaches? Because that is the reason why you will see a lot of politicians that are supposed to be critical opponents of the other party, but you will see them deep trying to beg for one particular patronage or the other from the ruling party. Take, for example, the party that is having seemingly more interesting semblance of ideology, the NNPP. The NNPP. Its own flag bearer and its own godfather, Rabiu Konkoso, even has to go to France to follow President Tinubu in order to show his patronage towards the Tinubu's victory. Look at, for example, the recent return from Saudi Arabia, whereby the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum was the one that was the closest to the APC leader during their sojourn there. Look at Governor Yusuf Wike. Look at him.
Who has now become a minister.
Look at even one of the fundamental people closest to the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, talking about the Vice Chancellor of Barr University. He is in the cabinet as a minister, one of the most senior minister of this thing. So if you look at all those things, and if you look at what is going on now, you look at this thing, what do you call it? All the political party players. Take himself, Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Originally, he was in the APC before he now jumped back to his way.
That was after he left the likes of the PDP. He was
so
at
many
some point,
exactly.
The ACN and so on. And
look at it.
He's gone through all those
look at himself, Konkoso, where was he before? Look at Peter Obi, he was running mate to Atiku before. So if you look at it,
from
all
Labour,
these things,
from Afghan to Labour Party, from Afghan to PDP, from PDP to...
Exactly. So if you look at it in this respect, virtually all of them are birds of the same feathers. They are playing politics of opportunism. Politics where will I enter so that it will better my own unicentric ego. That is the way I look at it.
So, but what happened to our claim to multiple party system now? Nigeria is said to be a multi-party state, We have opposition political parties. We have so far 18 political parties that are recognized by INEC. So where does that lies in all of this calculation?
It's a difference between letter 6 and number 6. It's a difference of that. Because all of them, there is no difference between this party and the other party. It is even now that the INEC has sanitized it to only 18 political parties. Hitherto, there used to be about 98 political parties, whereby if you go to a polling booth, they will tear a ballot paper that is as big as the size of prayer mat to say that you should go and vote, which is even confusing to an illiterate person, because so many of them, the similarities of their symbols is so similar that you will confuse one to the other. So as far as I'm concerned, by the way, almost all of them went into capitalist investment towards the ultimate goal of winning, use of money, use of thuggery, use of political violence, use of all these things. From the way you look at it there, it is very difficult for you to say that there is one party that is different from the other, rather than the difference in name, difference in the party colors, difference in the logo, difference in probably the type of clothes the leadership of the various political parties wear as their political symbols. But I do not see any difference. If you take the national chairman of APC that time, he was a member of the board of trustees in the immediate past government and the PDP. So if you look at almost all of them, it is politics of convenience, politics where it will butter my bread, not politics of any difference as far as
or service to the
and
nation.
that is the reason why you will see no difference. Governor of APC, governor of PDP, governor of Labour Party, governor of SDP, governor of NNPP. In terms of deliverables to the common man, there is virtually no difference, because none of them is really thinking of the provision of Section 14, subsection 1 that says sovereignty belongs to the people. None of them is thinking of that. Take an example of the 2 billion or 5 billion President Tinubu gave as palliative
to states.
To states. There is no state in the country now that such amount of money has cascaded to the common man on the street.
And there was not even accountability. No one is talking about where the money is,
so how
it has been disbursed, and all of them.
All of them, they have the same principles. The same principles is self-development, self-development, self-development.
Right. Okay, now looking at the current trajectory and the concerns around one-party state. Some will say, despite the seeming weakness of the political parties, especially the opposition political parties, it still remain I mean, the opposition, I mean, still plays its role looking at the previous elections. For instance, in the build-up to 2015, there was the coming together of the same elements across party lines who felt that there is need to come together, you know, from a single political party, I mean, under a political party.
Of the APC.
Yeah, yes, or under a single political party to challenge the dominance of the PDP then. And they succeeded in doing that.
Yes.
Do you see, you know, with the current trajectory, and now that Atiku Abubakar is asking the opposition political parties to come together, do you see a possibility of them coming together as a result of what, you know, befell them, or what, you know, the disadvantaged position they are in at the moment?
Well, I do not see that becoming possible. I do not see that becoming possible because of three factors. Number one, there is no uniformity of purpose right before the 2023 elections. Now, number two, they don't even subscribe to having any platform whereby they will be able to integrate ideas in one block. The Inter-Party Advisory Council that is supposed to be the formidable force, they have left it with only one man. Only His Excellency Y.Y. Sani is the one championing the cause of Inter-Party Advisory Council. The major political parties are not even, we don't see their power.
But now that he's moving from one political actor or leader to the other, now he has met former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. He's built to also meet, I'm sure in the next couple of hours or minutes, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party and so on. And perhaps he's moving around to galvanize this. It
will succeed if he reduces his too much tiltedness towards the ruling party. That is what will make it succeed. And then secondly, there should be a level playing ground, because other parties are afraid of the strength of Atiku Abubakar. Whenever you say come and regroup, they may think that it is to regroup in order to use them as instruments in order to support his aspiration. And that is the reason why they don't know.
So there is trust deficit.
And then another blow that is coming to them is the quality and type of the judgments the courts are given. Is giving them serious worries.
Yes, we are coming to look at the verdict. But then for now, we're looking at the political parties.
Yes,
you know, and how they can regain their strength.
So for political parties to regain their strength, number one, they must be able to institutionalize mechanism for party discipline. There is no party discipline in all the political parties. You know, APC, the leading party, has failed to account for the over 3 billion or 30 billion or whatever is it. The 100 billion all the political parties have contributed. They have failed to account for it. And the party has become so weak to penalize anybody. They have failed to penalize anybody. And the party has proved to be in comatose, because the party has not succeeded up to now in bringing before the president, the newly elected president, President Tinubu, say, we are the banner under which you were campaigned and the citizenry elected you. These are our table of demand. These are our manifestos. These are our aims and table of objectives and the manifestos through which we want to rule the country.
But how can we get that in an atmosphere where the president is considered as the leader of the party, for instance?
The leader of the party is an illegal position. There is nothing like leader of the party in any of the constitutions of the political parties. There is nothing like that. It is just because we have allowed politics of mercantilism, politics of merchants. But there are political merchants that wants to bring about whatever name in order to promote the particular thing they are doing. These people have succeeded in eroding the dignity of political parties, the supremacy of the political parties. Take, for example, the First Republic. During the First Republic, the Prime Minister then, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, never thought that he would become the Prime Minister. His aspiration was just to go into the National Assembly. So Ahmadu Bello brought him and said, you should be the Prime Minister. I, as the chairman of the political party, NPC, I will penalize you where you go astray. We'll give you charter or table of demands, and these are the things that we want your government to execute. And we are the ones to calibrate performance index for you, and then to see to you that you are just doing what we want. And that is the reason why if Ahmadu Bello is seated on a chair, Tafawa Balewa will sit on a chair that has lower distance as a mark of respect because he is his leader. If he calls him, he comes to the political party office to meet him. Tafawa Sardauna doesn't go to the government house to meet Tafawa Balewa. The same thing in the Second Republic. In the Second Republic, Shehu Shagari was busy trying to become a senator. Then the northern elders, when it was shifted to the northern bloc, based on their political shifting, they said all the political candidates for the presidential, all those that were aspiring under the party, should be locked into a room to produce a candidate. Professor Abubakar was there. Malam Adamu Chiromo was there. Dr. Yusuf Metamusula Damosan Kano was there. And Malam Ibrahim Gusau Sarki Malam. But all of them, they looked inward, they said, no, there is somebody better than us. Let us bring him. He has printed posters to go into the Senate. Let him be the presidential candidate. That was how they brought Shehu Shagari. Shehu Shagari was brought. The political party campaigned for him. It was not his money. The political structure of the campaign was that of the party. The party coordinated everything. And at the end of it, if Chief Adisa Achilewe, the chairman of the party, is seated with Malam Suleiman Takuma, the national secretary, and later on Uba Ahmed, Shehu Shagari, if they call him, he comes to the party office, not to the government house, and he really listened to them. But now we have now seen a situation whereby once, because he is the one that brought out the money, once he now wins, you will discover that from that time they will say all meetings should go to the government house. Whatever he says, whatever is his interest, is the decision of the party. So much so that you will see national chairman of the party going to be begging for favors, for appointment, to become ministers or what have you, under his own son. So that is what has eroded supremacy and dignity of political parties as institutions of democratic movements in Nigeria.
Right. Okay, I think we have to take a break. We've heard substantially about the reasons behind the weaknesses of the political parties and perhaps what need to be done for them to regain, their strength and perhaps play the role of that opposition politics in Nigeria. In case you're just joining us, the program is Daily Politics, and I've been interfacing with Barrister Mainasara Umar, an international national affairs analyst, also a political affairs analyst. Together, we'll be looking at whether Nigeria is sliding towards one-party state as claimed by some major political actors in Nigeria. What are the trajectory? What are the parameters to determine that? And what needs to be done to salvage the country? We'll take a break. When we return, the conversation continues. Stay with us.
Consensus. We did all our best. You see, in politics, you give your contribution to the best of your ability.
If you want, I'll forward to you this statement. You go to this bank and verify.
But there are people who say not spending money is not about you in itself.
Let me finish.
But there's so much to be done.
Let me finish. Now, you don't allow me to explain myself.
The recent development shows abductions are now a factor of informants embedded in community.
It's not about the people of Katsina to say that, no, during my administration I was able to stop insecurity. No, it's about collective responsibility for all of us.
And what we should ask ourselves is not what has been seen, is the life better? Are there more people who are unemployed who are not become employed? Is the level of corruption has gone down? Is there inclusion? All those issues.
We're actually a gas country with associated oil. Our focus has always been on oil, that we have never paid significant attention to gas.
To do it effectively, we need to have honest conversation with ourselves. Government needs to come down from its high horse and communicate with the people and build trust.
There must be a solution. We cannot continue this way. They must come back to the table and agree. So whose child will do deny education? All these children that sit for them, they want to go to higher institutions.
But just a short while ago, you were saying that why bring 10 children when you cannot cater for them? So why bring more universities when you cannot cater for the existing?
Thank you very much for staying with us on Daily Politics. You can follow us across our social media platforms. That is in case you miss any part of the show. And today we're looking at whether Nigeria is sliding towards a one-party state as claimed by some major political actors in Nigeria, and what needs to be done to salvage it or to make the polity vibrant. And I have in the studio Barrister Mainasara Umar. Just before the break, we're looking at the political parties where they lost the track and how they can regain this. You talked about the fragmentations and all political party lines. You talked about the lack of unity of purpose, even the ideology is not there. You talked about political parties.
They are political clubs, really, not political parties. Because there is none of them that you will say it is having all its structures like to ward level. Or there is none of them that you will say it has membership register at the ward level, at the local government level.
And to some extent, this is also affecting, we'll come to that, looking at the off-season election, for instance. There has been this major concerns around the inability of political parties to have polling unit agents because of the lack of structure and lack of the manpower needed to supervise. And that is affecting the political parties substantially, some will say. Because, for instance, if you look at the Kogi election, there has been outcry, especially coming from the Social Democratic Party, the election result or election result sheets have been compromised at some polling units. They also talked about overvoting and all of that. But you find out that it is extremely difficult for political parties to establish that. In most cases, results are collated from the local level to ward level up to the state level. Without any resistance. And then how do we, to buttress what you're saying, does this affect, is it part of the reason why the political parties themselves are not getting it right?
It's part of the reasons, and unfortunately, people are exploiting that deficiency very, very well, and even winning cases on the altar of those deficiencies. Because virtually there is none of the political parties that has at my ward level you go to, even in the ward office, there is nothing like ward office. There is nothing like some villages office and the rest. Even if there is local government office, you will discover that it's a marathon locked up shop, whereby it is only when they want to satisfy some constitutional requirements they come into it. But really they are just political clubs ganging up in order to suit their individual convenience. Paradoxically, you can say they are political parties. Of course, they have symbols, they have certificate given to them by INEC, so they
have membership to some extent.
So you can say they are political parties. But really, that is one of the reasons why you will discover some people, for example, the case of Kano governor, whom they said is not a member of the political party. Because by virtue of the political culture already entrenched, you don't need to be in any political party. It is, if you know you have the money.
That is the mentality now.
Yes, if you have the money and you have the
control is against the constitutional provision
of the political superpowers at whatever level you want to contest. The moment you go like that, tomorrow you can be in the party today, tomorrow you will be succeed in becoming the candidate of the party. And if you have the money again, you will be busy there trying to campaign to become president. By the time you lose the president, if you have the money, you have the influence, you have the control of the party machinery, you will be given automatic ticket to either become a senator or a governor. We have seen it, some people that didn't even contest. They eventually win. Take the case of some people that are in the Senate, and there are some governors too, and it has become like that. And the judiciary is not helping matters.
We're going to look at the role of now we're looking at the role of INEC, for instance. Now I've started looking at this off-season election, for instance. And
INEC,
because it has not much to be desired. Some say there's a lot of compromise, on the part of INEC as an institution. Take, for instance, the issues in Kogi, where INEC itself acknowledged certain anomalies, and promise to rectify.
Because they cannot put those anomalies under the carpet. They were so glaring. They were so glaring. They were so glaring. And in the case of Kogi itself, my greatest worry was that the way Kogi politics went about based on sentiments of religion and tribal and ethnic
coloration.
Because there are three dominant tribes in Kogi state. The Igalas, the Ibiras, and the Yorubas. So if you look at it carefully, PDP tilted towards the Yorubas. That was where Dino Melaye came from. And then he had a number of other contestants. Other political parties fielded candidates. He too fielded candidates. So that
even though the
ended up,
ADC candidate was also from that.
yes.
From
So that ended up dividing the votes of the Yorubas. At the end, I think got about
a very negligible
41,000 something or 47,000 something there about. And then the one of the Igalas there. The Igalas was that is the SDP. I'm talking about the SDP. Yes, Murtala, the SDP. He too used this thing. And then so many contestants from the same area. They thought that by virtue of having the record of having produced governor for the past 16 years under the PDP, they thought that they would be able to do it. Unfortunately, they fielded many candidates, so they divided their votes. And then the Ibiras, who are at the central area of it, coupled with the incumbency advantage, coupled with the incumbency factor of the governor from that area, succeeded in using this, is it Usman Udodo? He succeeded in bringing about this and campaign for his people not to field any other candidate. So the candidate emerged as the only one candidate. And they were lucky, even though unlucky. The paramount traditional ruler, His Royal Majesty Ohinoi of blessed memory died. And then they were using the period of his mourning and then trying to drive sympathy and the rest of it, which just within a few days before the election. And at the end of it, the incumbency factor there, the gangsterism of the Ibera people, all of them for only one candidate, and also at the end of it they succeeded in winning. But before the election, there were incidents of getting INEC officers with thumb-printed ballot papers and so many other irregularities.
That's the point. I'm looking at the conduct now.
Yes.
Looking at what transpired.
He who paid the piper
three local government areas where,
He who paid the piper dictated the tune. In a situation whereby leading political parties are the ones with the government, and they are the ones to appoint electoral commissioners, and they are the ones to appoint INEC chairman. Whether he is covertly or overtly a member of the political party, he is tilted to give sympathy to it. If you want INEC to really be independent and really be doing correct things, there are certain things that should be done for you to revolutionize INEC, for it to be repositioned to the correct challenge, for it to answer the name independent.
But how can it do that? I mean, what are the parameters? What needs to be done to make it truly independent?
Well, number one is that, for example, we are having 36 states. 36 states that we are having in the federation, we have 18 political parties. 18 political parties ask every political party to bring 4 people. Those 4 people that they will bring will automatically give you, 72 members. That 72 members divided into 2, it gives you 36 in 2 blocks. Those 36 get envelopes. These envelopes that you will get the envelopes, fill the envelopes with name of states. Two envelopes.
If I understand, they need to democratize
they need to democratize the system so that there will not be one party that will have the dominant say in the decision. And the appointment of the INEC chairman should not be prerequisite under the president. Rather, let it be the National Council of State that should be the one that will appoint the INEC chairman, and should be subject to very serious scrutiny to really certify his statesmanship, his non-partisanship, his experience, his intellect, his education, his background, and so many other things that are necessary needed to find out. And then on the election day too, so long we continue to use manual electioneering system, so long rigging and favoritism will continue to be done. What we need to do is we should really have the National Assembly members to insulate in the legislation that election must be electronic. There is a way you can do it.
It shouldn't be seen to be it has to be mandatory.
It has to be mandatory rather than advisory. It has to be mandatory. Have something like this. Let it be whereby you have this one at every polling center. Let it be a solar powered something whereby on the election day, lock off all the borders of Nigeria. Let every Nigerian come. Let it be between 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Those are the only 3 hours for voting. Make it like that. And then there is no need to restrict the movement of anybody. Say from 9 to 12, everybody that is within Nigeria, go to the nearest polling center and thumbprint. There is no 2 individuals with 1 thumbprint. If you like thumbprint 10,000 times, it invalidates your vote. It invalidates your votes automatically the moment you do this. So everybody should go there, represent representatives of the political parties, INEC and security officials should safeguard the polling center. The moment you thumbprint, it automatically translates into the collation center, which has representative of the political parties there, which are representative of security agencies and the INEC officials there. And by that 12 o'clock exactly, you see the results coming out. You see whereby instead of spending 365 billion, you will see that you will spend not more than 5 billion to conduct it. The other money can be used to can be channeled into development.
It sounds novel. It sounds very, very, very interesting. But then, what do we do with the glitches? Even with what we have, the not partial use of electronic means, we've seen the level of glitches, how it almost undermined the 2023 election.
No, that one I do not believe they really entrenched the needed sophistication to make it fraud proof. I don't think they did it. I don't think they did it. If they had done it, look at, for example,
do we have the background? Do we have the backbone? We're talking about infrastructure now.
Yes,
electricity
it is very easy. No.
Internet is also
solar powered system. Don't go into electricity system. Solar powered system is what you will use. By the time you will use it, you will see it. It will be done excellently. If we can be running GSM telephone system, there is nothing we can do. Even this security system we are having in the country, whereby bandits are using phones that have been recorded, that have been registered by individuals, and we have a ministry in charge of technological innovation, ministry in charge of communication, digital economy and digital communication. Yet they are the ones that says every GSM number must be registered. You must have the details and everything. And these people will be using this in negotiating. To such an extent, in some places, they will even ask you to go to the particular bank and pay ransom for them. Yet, we cannot detect those things. We cannot see the end of it. It is a matter of lack of willingness to really put a stop.
Yeah, you talked about the recruitment recruitment procedure, if you like, and how it can be done right in INEC, for instance. But then we also, we are beginning to see how there is some level of, alleged connivance between the political actors and INEC officials, and then we haven't seen some level of deterrence.
There cannot be deterrence because the Electoral Act says that INEC is the one responsible for determining who should be arrested and who should be prosecuted. And to date, we have not seen anybody being prosecuted or arrested.
And you think with all of this that has been eroding, if you like, or undermining the trusts between INEC and the public, INEC should fold its arm and allow some of these things, because if INEC, it has the names of its officials, the name of its workforce, right from low to bottom and from top to bottom, and they can be able to trace, who does what in terms of undermining the process. But then there hasn't been much in terms of, even though some would say perhaps INEC need to be given time to see whether that will happen, especially in Kogi now. INEC has admitted that yes, there are infractions. It has witnessed, some of its staff undermine the process, and it is it is coming up with an investigative process to identify some of those that are involved.
Even the Kogi, I'm not confident of anything coming out of it, because for example, a lot of INEC offices were burnt before the 2023 election. A lot of INEC officers were killed. There were places whereby all the election materials were destroyed, were set ablaze. You understand? There was the case of Adamawa equally. In all the totality of all these happenings, I have not seen one individual penalized to date by INEC. I have not seen.
Okay, now looking at the allegation now that the executive branch has, if you like, pocket, or rather, is influencing some of these key institutions. Do you see the hands of the executive branch in all of this that is happening? Let's start with INEC before we look at the judiciary, because there is also substantial concern around the judiciary, especially looking at the outcomes of some of these court pronouncements.
Well, in the light of glaring evidence, you can say that there is no basis to say just allegations. But in light of the practical reality, when almost all the judgments are tilting towards the ruling party, then you can subscribe to that accusation. You can subscribe to that allegation. You will not be wrong if you say that. Because why is it that almost all the judgments are towards favoring the ruling party?
But there are some that are actually that are in favor of the opposition party. For instance, we have Bauchi, we have I mean, a few others like that.
What percentage are those ones in relation to the general analysis? That is one. And then secondly, if you look at the romance of the Bauchi governor vis-a-vis the ruling party, will you be surprised?
Well, that cannot also be established. But then we need to look at the basis, that is the law, the reasoning, you know, by
that
this,
is why I said
this,
if you are talking about it from in the context of you know, testimonial evidence, you will say that it's a baseless accusation because there is no evidence to adduce.
But people are talking about conflicting positions now, and in some cases reversing what the lower tribunals have done in terms of, take for instance Kanu, the lower tribunal did not talk about the nomination or whether, you know, the membership. But then the appeal court.
No, they talk about membership.
Yeah, but it didn't. The ruling was in favor of the ruling party.
Yes.
So but then at the Court of Appeal it was reversed, and then yeah, and so on. So what do you make up with all of this conflicting? I mean, judgments?
Well, I'm not surprised regarding the type of judgments we are getting, because number one, we decided that under Section 36 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That no matter how huge, if you like, combine the totality of Mandara Mountains, combine it with Zagami Mountains, the what do you call the Quantagora, any mountain as big as that, Olumo Rock, Zuma Rock, and what have you, combine them, they remain mere pieces of allegations. Until a court is established. And then the same section went about to say that for you to win any case of accusation or allegation, you must be prepared to prove it beyond reasonable doubt. And you don't have any instrument to calibrate the temperament of the reasonability or otherwise of the doubt of the judge. So, and I guess at the same time, we brought a system whereby this system is there. But it is giving room, more favor to somebody that is being accused. He has more latitude or more leverage to win cases in any accusation.
Thank you very much. I wish we have much more time to go into this, but then subsequent interface perhaps we'll be able to explore all of that. Thank you very much, Barrister Mainasara Umar, for talking to us on Daily Politics.
Thank you very much.
And viewers, this is where we come to the end of the show tonight. I do hope you enjoy every bit of it. If you find it informative and engaging, join us tomorrow, where we'll be back with another interesting topics and personality. Until then, I'm Shehu Suleiman. Many thanks for staying with us.